thank you for tuning in to Straight to the Point. I am Greg Jackson, self-proclaimed attorney extraordinaire, a co-host on the weekly radio talk show program, Let's Talk About It, and a general in the Let's Talk Nation. Hey, listen, as always, this channel is about entertaining, educating, and empowering viewers by addressing commonly asked legal questions that I hear from time to time. And today's topic is actually going to be a very interesting topic because at some point in time, my clients or someone that you know who's been involved in a personal injury accident, motor vehicle accident, slip and fall, things of that nature, is going to ask the question of, do I have a good case? Well, let's talk about that and see if in fact, or how we determine if a person has a good case. There are three primary ways that a case is looked at or viewed by an insurance company to determine the value of a case. The three things that they look at primarily to determine if there's a good case or what the value is in the case is the type of accident that you were involved in and the injuries that were sustained, the medical treatments that you received as a result of the injuries from the accident, and then they look at what are the future medical treatments that you're going to need in order to address the injuries that you sustained. Now, there's also this one other outlier that a lot of folks don't think about when they ask about the value of a case, and that is the amount of coverage that the other person may have had in order to compensate or in order to pay for the expenses associated with the injuries that have been sustained. So we have to look at, number one, again, the accident and the injury sustained, the medical treatments that were received, and any future medical treatments that will be received or needed as a result of the accident. And then we have to make sure that there's enough coverage to address all of those issues. Throughout the nearly 20-year course of my career as an attorney, I've handled a number of cases that were medical malpractice cases where I've seen injured individuals recover millions of dollars. But in this particular instance, we're going to be talking about personal injury cases such as slip and falls, trip and falls, motor vehicle accidents, where there may not necessarily be that type of coverage that would allow for that type of recovery in those instances. So when I talk about with my clients whether or not they have a good case, I understand once again that they're asking what's the value of their case. And so in evaluating a case, what the insurance company looks at is first and foremost the type of accident and injury sustained as a result of that accident. Let's say you're involved in a motor vehicle accident and you don't sustain any injuries. Now, in that particular case, the insurance company is probably not going to put any value on that case. Now, conversely, let's say that you're involved in a motor vehicle accident and you require conservative treatments like chiropractic care or physical therapy. That type of case actually has more value than a no injury case, but far less value than a case where you will require injections or surgery. When you start talking about injections and surgery, the insurance company knows that those cases will have more value, and there's a couple different reasons why. One of which is injections or surgery may be an indication that you have a permanent injury. Now, we're going to talk about permanent injuries at some other time because I want to stick to the point of valuation based on the three primary factors that I've been discussing here today. Now, the second factor for evaluating a case, we've already kind of touched on that, and we're talking about the types of treatments that you received. Now, again, if you don't receive any treatment, then more than likely the insurance company isn't going to place a whole lot of value on those cases. But if you receive conservative treatments, that gets you to one level, injections gets you to another level, surgery gets you to a different level than the other prior modalities that I've mentioned. So individuals who have surgery in these types of cases actually have a case with a higher value than individuals who've only had injections or who've only had conservative treatment or who've had no treatment at all. Now, the other step, or the last step that the insurance company looks at to determine the value of a case is what treatments are you going to need in the future? Now, let's say that you're involved in an accident and you do require conservative treatments, you do require injections, but you don't have a recommendation for any other treatment after those things are done. The insurance company is going to say, well, this person has resolved or their injuries have resolved. And so this case has no further value than the treatments that they've already received and that they've already had payments for. Now, let's say, for instance, if a person has surgery And from that surgery, it's determined that they're going to need a future surgery or some type of future conservative treatment or future injections. The insurance company looks at that and says, well, hey, wait a minute. This person not only had injections and surgeries, but they're going to need something else in the future, which is going to be other treatments that they're going to have to pay for. And so we're going to add up that and increase the value of the case because they're going to need future treatments. So that's the other way that the insurance company evaluates the case and determines if you have a good case or how good of a case you may have. Now remember, we talked about this outlier and what else is used as a consideration to determine if you have a good case. Well, that is the amount of coverage or insurance coverage that that individual has. So let's say, for instance, that you're involved in a terrible accident and this actually happens and you have to have conservative treatments, you have to have injections, you have to have surgery. And the person that caused all of these injuries only has $10,000 in bodily injury coverage, then guess what? That case is only worth, in the insurance company's mind, $10,000. Now, there are also cases where individuals are involved in terrible accidents. They need injections, they need surgery, they need future treatments, and the individual that caused the accident doesn't even have bodily injury insurance, which is sad and ridiculous. And we've already talked about this, so I'm not going to go down that road today again. But let's say, for instance, that if you're involved in a motor vehicle accident with a commercial carrier or a person who carries adequate insurance of $100,000, $300,000, $500,000. So in the event that they hurt someone as a part of negligent driving or something of that nature, and you have to have conservative treatments, injections, surgery, future surgery. Now, those policies, because of the amount of their policy, will cover you for those treatments that you need in the past and the treatments that you're going to need in the future. So in addition to the injuries that you've sustained, what makes this a good case or a case with value is the fact that the individual who caused the accident has enough insurance to cover for the expenses and things that they've caused. Now, there's also something known as permanency, which also results in and leads to something that we call in the legal field as pain and suffering. And we get to pain and suffering with a permanent injury, but I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on this. I just want to state the fact that in order to have a good case, you have to have the treatments or the injury with the treatment, the future care and treatments that you're following your physician's advice on, and the coverages in order to cover for all of the expenses that are going to be taken into account if you're injured in a motor vehicle accident or a slip and fall or any other type of personal injury claim. I know that I've thrown a lot at you all today, but I know that you can handle it because you are some of the smartest and the brightest people in the bunch. And I appreciate you all for tuning into these videos. And if you find value in these videos and you want to see more of these videos, just hit that like and subscribe button and I'll be sure that I keep them coming. But until next time, I am Greg Jackson, self-proclaimed attorney extraordinaire, a co-host on the weekly radio talk show program, Let's Talk About It, and a general in the Let's Talk Nation. Until next time, be good.